Good evening, peoples. It is Wednesday, January 17th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Right now, I'm on the YouTube platform, and this is an individual who I've been following for maybe a few weeks since I seen a few posts, and seems to be very precise, very unbiased. And so the caption reads, Lebanese fighters enter Israel. Hamas launches 50 missiles in one go, armed attacks from Egypt. So now I'm going to get into playing this video and give you guys a little reaction. It's 20 minutes long. I don't know if I'll play the entire 20 minutes of the video, but nonetheless, I'm going to give you guys a brief breakdown and reaction to this video. Okay, so this brother's name is Mahmood Odd. Mahmood OD. And this right here is his YouTube channel. And so we're going to get into this video and listen to him speak briefly, and I'm going to give you guys a reaction. If you would like, you can follow him on YouTube. You see he has about 24,000 subscribers, and he has about a little bit over 200 videos. So you guys can go check his channel out.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. We have 2 days worth of catching up to do, so we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. Primarily, many updates from Gaza and what's happening in the northern part of Gaza, in the general parts of Gaza, and in the southern part, particularly with the Rafah border. We have some important updates from there. I'm also going to be talking to you about Iran. I'm going to be talking about Yemen. I'm going to be talking about Lebanon, and I will finish off with the latest statement that we had from the Saudi foreign minister. To start off with, in Gaza, in my previous video, I spoke about the withdrawal of Division 36. Division 36 consists of approximately 15,000 soldiers. One of their brigades is the Golani Brigade, that most of them withdrew previously, but they had one brigade remaining in Division 36. The latest report we've had is a massive withdrawal from the northern part. Yesterday, we had small invasions back from Israel, not at the same level that they had previously, however, because they just admitted that Hamas is restructuring in the northern parts of Gaza. And we also had.
So the Israeli, government, it's like I've been telling you guys before. Hamas, to think that you will end Hamas, you will totally destroy Hamas. Before that happens, you will totally destroy all of Palestine. And I think the Israeli government knows this. And I absolutely don't think that they care.
Had 50 missile launches yesterday at Netivot, which is a very big city in the southern part of Israel. This concerned a lot of people from Israel. We're withdrawing here, and they still can attack us with a massive barrage of missiles. And it wasn't just.
So now you see what he just said. Israel is withdrawing from parts of Gaza, and they're still being fired upon. And maybe, which I wouldn't understand how, but maybe there is some confusion as to why they would still be fired upon after their withdrawing. But when you look at the devastation and you see these things in real time, you know, I don't know how you could sleep comfortably at night as an Israeli, quote unquote soldier. I don't know how you could do that, to know that you will never find peace. You could never find peace in that region.
The missiles that Israel claimed that they intercepted 20 of, by the way. So you have 30 landings inside of Israel, inside of a populated city, albeit with a lot of censorship. So we don't know how much they affected things when they landed. But the fact of the matter is,
And that's a whole nother topic right there. So 50 missiles launched, 20 missiles intercepted, but 30 missiles landed in Israel. And so, because of the enormous amount of censorship, because the Israeli government, something like a country under a dictatorship, they're not allowing the free press to be free in this time. So we're not hearing or getting the actual reports. We're hearing rumors of such, but we're not getting actual reports of what's actually going on inside of Israel. So no one knows the damage and what was caused or what happened in Israel. But Israel is the Israelis know.
they did land. We saw videos of them launching the rockets, and Israel said that they intercepted 20. Israel also admitted that 2 of their soldiers were killed in the past 24 hours, with over 39 wounded. Now, there were many battles on the ground, and there were very, very fierce battles in Khan Yunis, in Sheikh Radwan, and in other parts of these areas. Al Qassam brigades confirmed that they attacked 6 Israeli tanks, destroyed them, and 1 soldier carrier. They had joint attacks with Sarai al-Quds, the armed wing of the PIJ. Most of them were mortar shellings on soldier gatherings in multiple parts of Gaza. And again, we're seeing these small resistance groups in Gaza, like Kata'ib al-Mujahideen, using sophisticated weapons. They announced that they targeted an Israel.
So what that would mean is that it's not just Hamas that's in Gaza. You have other resistance regimes that are fighting as well, just as well as the Houthi rebels and Hezbollah. You have other regimes that's inside of Gaza that are coming together and they are fighting as well.
Israeli Apache with an anti-aircraft missile that's held over the shoulder. So you're talking about more movement with the smaller groups, more control over the ground, and reports were there about civilians going back to the northern parts of Gaza. Some of them were targeted by Israeli soldiers. In the meantime, Israel is continuing with its barbarism, targeting civilians. They target civilians trying to go back to the northern parts of Gaza, and we had reports of them targeting ambulances who tried to reach wounded people. So they don't have any accomplishment.
So not only are they targeting, this goes back to what I've been saying previously about Israeli war tactics. So you not only attack the civilian population, but you also attack the emergency response units that come to assist the civilian population. So that's basically ensuring that the death is imminent. You understand?
When it comes to the resistance, and they're still trying to continue and make life as miserable as possible for the people of Gaza who are still persistent against them. I mean, the resilience of these people is just unbelievable sometimes. When you're talking about the north, it's completely destroyed, yet they're persistent on going back and sending a message to Israel that we're going nowhere. This is our land, and you won't have your dreams and ambitions and fantasies of resettling back in Gaza implemented as long as we're here. Another.
And so, even in death, even in destruction, even in this time of complete war, you will have people of Gaza refusing to leave, refusing to give up their land.
Interesting thing is we finally have medicines going in to Gaza. Now, Israel tried to restrict the entry of medicines. Imagine how evil this satanic death cult is. They tried to ban the entry of medicine to Gaza. They tried to tie it with.
Like I said, Israeli war tactics. So, killing the innocent civilians, once again, and the killing of emergency response, and also the stopping of humanitarian aid from entering Gaza. So it's all a part of Israeli war tactics.
Their hostages, their prisoners in Gaza, getting medicines. And they wanted to monitor those medicines. Now, we've had an agreement. We got a shipment of medicines through to Gaza, but the details are interesting. Some of these medicines are going to go to the Israelis held in Gaza, but one per thousand. So for every 1,000 packs, one pack will go to the Israelis held by the resistance groups in Gaza. Now, Israel previously wanted this shipment to be controlled by them, but Hamas resisted that. And they eventually approved the entry of these medicines without the Israeli army checking them. There was a lot of backlash on Benjamin.
And so, like I said, Hamas is freedom fighters. In all accounts and everything that I've seen and witnessed from not only their behavior, but from the way that the people even interact and deal with them, these individuals are not terrorists. They can never be terrorists. To the Palestinians, they are nothing short of heroes.
Netanyahu had criticism from Itamar Ben Gvir. He had criticism from other people in Israel. Netanyahu claimed that he had nothing to do with the arrangement of the medicine going in. But security officials reported that he is trolling and he compartmentalized the IDF according to them. He's causing division in the IDF because of his deals. Another Mossad official claimed that the whole arrangement was made by the Mossad and the Israeli army had nothing to do with it. Apparently, it was a Qatari French attempt, and the medicines went in through Gaza. And Musa Abu Marzouk, who is a senior figure in Hamas, he confirmed that these medicines went in by the conditions and under the conditions of Hamas, which is exactly what happened. We can see it evidently from the criticism that Netanyahu is getting and the fact that we actually did get the medicine in Gaza. And again, I spoke about previously how Hamas is speaking to Israel from a position of strength. When they had the temporary ceasefire, they enforced all of their conditions on Israel, which included a complete ceasefire, Israeli planes not going on top of Gaza. You had people going back to the north, and they allowed aid to the north, and they allowed fuel to go in Gaza as well. And we're seeing the same thing again now, which debunks the whole Israeli narrative about them weakening Hamas, them having control in most parts of Gaza, and them having the final say when it comes to these things. Hamas is clear.
You know, this is what Netanyahu and the Israelis have been saying is clearly something the world does not believe. I think it's safe to say no one in the world believes the position of Israel. We do not believe the government. We do not believe, quote unquote, the Israeli soldiers, because I don't believe that they're soldiers. I believe that there's something different. But no one believes the rhetoric, no one believes the propaganda, no one believes what's being spread um to their allies and what they're leaning on their allies to spread throughout their news media outlets. No one believes the lies. We just don't believe it.
Clearly still under control. They're still talking to Israel from a position of strength. And the fact that we still don't have a ceasefire yet is because Israel haven't submitted to the Hamas conditions, who are telling them and have been telling them since the temporary ceasefire finished that we won't agree to any further prisoner swaps unless there's a complete ceasefire and you agree to our conditions. And this is what's happening yet again with this deal to get the medicine in Gaza. We had two statements as well from Yoav Gallant, the Israeli defense minister, and Benjamin Netanyahu concerning the situation in Gaza. Netanyahu reiterated again, we're going until the end, up until we achieve everything in Gaza. And Yoav Gallant said, if we don't disable all of Hamas's capabilities, we won't be.
You know, I just seen another a post on the X platform that basically was a statement by, you know, this individual Netanyahu, who basically said that the military campaign inside Gaza would not end, or they don't see an end in sight until at least 2025. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have just started. Most of you have just celebrated and started the new year of 2024. We have just left 2023, and this situation started on October 7th. And October 7th, 2023, that is. And now we are here in 2024, a brand new year. And already this individual is predicting that this conflict will not end until at least next year.
Able to live in Israel. And I wanted to have a small comment on the statement of Mr. Yoav Gallant. How about you actually leave Israel? How about you and everyone who supports apartheid and supremacy actually leave Israel and leave us the hell alone? People will dismantle apartheid and we will work towards implementing equality. People will have equal rights in the country. And you and your supremacist, genocidal, satanic death cult can leave the country. There is no problem. Jews, Muslims, and
I like it to be clear that the Muslims, Muslims do not have issues with Jewish people. In fact, Jewish people and Muslims have lived amongst each other for thousands of years. So it's actually appalling for them to keep spreading this narrative like Muslims and Jews have this 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 old historic issue with each other that just won't die and won't end. It's it's emphatically untrue. It's not true at all. The Zionists that are inside of the country of Israel are the problem. If the Zionists did not exist, the Jewish people that live in Israel would never have a problem. Not only would they never have a problem, and not only would they be respected, but they would have a brotherhood in that region. A brotherhood far greater than just being Jewish, a brotherhood far greater than just being Muslim. So I denounce this belief and this ideology that Muslims and Jews have this issue with each other. It is untrue. It is only a narrative that is being spread throughout the Western media and its allies. Those in the world that know the truth, they are together, they are united. You see Muslims and Jews having meetings, having dialogue, going to each other's places of worship. You see this all the time. It's nothing new.
Christians lived peacefully for thousands of years in Palestine, and they will do much better off without you. And
What's funny is I haven't even seen this video and he just confirmed what I just said. These people have lived together for thousands of years without any issues and conflicts or problems. And if they did arise, then they were intelligent enough, they were peaceful enough of groups of people to work these conflicts out without without severe and enormous acts of violence.
your satanic death cult in this land. So please do us a favor and leave. Another important thing I want to talk about is Lebanon. We still had exchanges from Hezbollah in Israel, and we've had a very interesting thing happening in the past few days. Israel confirmed that 4 fighters invaded Israel from Lebanon, and they started attacking Israeli soldiers. Israel admitted that several soldiers were wounded, not severely, but they were wounded, according to Israel again, but that they neutralized all of them. They killed all of them. This is another step from Lebanon. In the beginning of the war, we had entries from Lebanon to Israel. Several groups, including Al Qassam brigades and Sarai al Quds, who are active in Lebanon, but obviously under an agreement and in full coordination with Hezbollah, who's ultimately in charge in southern Lebanon, they entered Israel. And we had a level of censorship back then, but they did confirm that they went in. So this is another step up because we didn't have these invasions into Israel for a very long time since they last happened in this war. And it's yet another sign from Hezbollah and Lebanon that we are able to increase if you continue this war. The other topic I wanted to talk about is a really
So, basically other other brigades have entered Israel. From what I gather from what he's saying, other freedom fighters have entered Israel and they're gonna continue their assault as long as Israel continues its military campaign in Gaza. And as I sit here and I told you guys before, many of my friends say, be careful on the way that you report the news. Be careful that you don't choose sides in these matters, in these situations. But it's very hard not to when you consider yourself to be a humanitarian. You know, I use that word loosely, and I use it loosely for a reason, because I want people to become understanding of what that word actually means. You know, it's not just about being kind to one another or sharing or any of those things. It's actually about caring about the good, the bad, and the ugly as it relates to our brothers and sisters in this human experience. So the reason why I wanted to basically give you guys um some context as it relates to this video is because these news media outlets that we are used to, they report the news in such a way as to not give the full context of any story. So it's always missing pieces when you look at these major news media corporations and the content that they put out. There's always missing pieces. You, as the viewer, you sit there and you watch these pieces and you are a little confused as to the information that you're hearing because certain things just don't make sense. And if you were ever to approach any of these politicians or any members of government, they wouldn't even respond to you. They would just ignore you. They would act like you're not even asking the question, as if you're not deserving of an answer. And so this is the ideology that you and I have grew up in. This is the ideology that we know, and this is the traditional ideology of the United States of America.
Important one as well. Iran launched ballistic missiles on Erbil and they had attacks in Pakistan. With the attack in Erbil, Iran claimed that they had a Mossad hub that they attacked in Erbil. The authorities in Erbil denied. They said this person is a civilian and he's not a member of the Mossad. Now, there are ties between the Kurdish region and Israel because Israel always likes to play on the minorities cards. Whenever there's a minority and they can cause some sort of friction between a government that they don't like, they will support them. Even if they have good relations with that country, they will still use minority.
This is something, and you know, that's a tactic that was probably learned from the United States of America by going to a country and just, you know, aiding and empowering the you know, the militias and the guerrilla groups, and you know, the opposition of the people that are in positions of power in said adversarial countries.
As leverage and cause frictions between them. This is what the United States and the United Kingdom and the coalition did when they invaded Iraq in 2003. They started the Sunni Shia problems. These things hardly existed previously in Iraq. As a matter of fact, the government included Christians, Sunnis, and Shias, and everything was fine, but they stir up division.
So you know, you know, he just, you know, said out his own mouth that the United States is accused with starting conflict between the Shiites and the Sunni Muslims. And you know, that's a profound statement, but it's not surprising to an individual such as myself, who comes from the United States of America, who knows, you know, a partial history of the United States of America, you know, the history that's made available to us. And this is all tactical.
And they have people to play with them in the Muslim world, unfortunately. But they are still doing it in many countries, and it's very possible that Iran definitely did attack a base that was linked to Israel. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. When it comes to Pakistan, the Pakistani authorities took it more seriously. Obviously, Iraq, they complained about Iran. I'm not sure if it's just a show, to be honest with you, because the two countries are close together, and Iraqi movements, many of them almost belong to Iran in terms of authority, in terms of religious authority, political authority. But when it comes to Pakistan, they actually took their ambassador and they condemned the attacks heavily on Iran. Now, obviously, Iran is claiming that these groups were active against them, which again could well be. Again, there are groups that don't like Iran. There are some movements that try and attack Iran from within as well. But what we're getting here is that Iran is having more direct engagement in this, whether when it comes to the Red Sea or attacking Israeli ships or having direct attacks, not only through their allies in the region. So it's escalating because Al Mayadeen.
Yeah, so it is escalating. And the United States, they would have you and I believe that, oh no, we did not want this conflict to escalate. We do not want a regional war. But we find that hard to believe when you bypass Congress to send more military aid to Israel. We find that very hard to believe. We find it very hard to believe that you are, you pushing peace, so to say. But we don't believe you. The receipts say something different.
The news network, they reported that earlier on this month, Iran directly attacked two Israeli ships. We haven't had many reports about this, but Al Mayadeen confirmed that this happened and that this was in retaliation to the supposedly ISIS attack in Iran. So we're seeing more activity from Iran and things are escalating.
And he just put his fingers up in quotation marks when he refers to supposed ISIS attack. I have this is, into the street icon conspiracy theories, section. So I have a theory as it relates to ISIS. I believe that ISIS is really um United States military assets, uh secret operatives, whatever may have you, military industrial complex. I believe that they are the creators of ISIS.
With their direct actions. We also had another intense day in the Red Sea. Ansarullah, the Yemenis, they attacked the Zographia ship that was headed towards Israel, and they confirmed again we will continue attacking any ships that are going to Israel. They are not stopping. The coalition, it's not intimidating them. As a matter of fact, it's giving them more strength. You're seeing even more people in Yemen going out and protesting and supporting their government, supporting the attacks on Israel linked ships, and showing complete solidarity with the Palestinian people.
So maybe you assume that your prosperity guardian, coalition, prosperity guardian coalition, maybe you were under the assumption that this would scare the Houthi rebels. It would intimidate the Houthi rebels. It would scare or intimidate Hezbollah, the same as it relates to Iran. And so you maybe have drawn the conclusion that creating such a coalition inside the Red Sea would deter all of these actions, but it has not. As a matter of fact, it's increased, and it's increasing day by day.
And the Yemeni officials, when they begin their speeches to talk about what they've done and what they're about to do, they'll say انتصارا للشعب الفلسطيني، انتصارا لغزة، لمظلومية الشعب الفلسطيني, which means helping and assisting the Palestinians, helping Gaza in our efforts to help Gaza. So this is the main thing they're working out from. The people who are oppressed, they're trying to support them. They're doing something noble. They're doing something legal. They're doing something moral, unlike what this war coalition is doing, going and attacking Yemen.
So it's almost equivalent to saying, and I've always believed this to be complete hypocrisy or an injustice. But if you see a child or a civilian being harmed in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and you uh, attack whoever this individual or group or whoever is to, relieve the civilians from their stress, relieve them from injury or risk, right?
For imposing a blockade on Israel, something that they should be doing, and forgetting about a genocide that's happening in front of everyone's eyes and supporting the country that's committing genocide. What a shameful position. And they're labeling Yemen, they want to label Yemen again, the Houthis, Ansarullah, as an international terrorist organization. This facade again. And behind closed doors, they're offering them recognition in their government if they stop the attacks in the Red Sea. So, what is this terrorism labeling exactly? Whenever it suits you, whenever you see fit, they lead the world and flood the world with terrorism. And then they come and tell you these people are terrorists because they're doing acts that were against them that we don't like. Imagine the hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy, the same hypocrisy that I've been speaking of. You see, the American politics work in a fashion against any civilian that would seek to protect themselves or their family members. So if someone of an authoritative figure is seeking to harm you or any of your family members, you protecting yourself is, in their eyes, an act of terrorism.
And the mafia mindset that these people have. It's like a global cartel running the world. Another important thing I wanted to talk about is the Rafah border. We had this attack on Israeli forces, apparently by smugglers, drug smugglers, and apparently some Israeli soldiers were wounded. Now, Israel sent a delegation to Cairo to investigate it and see exactly what's happening. But I wanted to make a couple of comments here. Firstly, it's not uncommon for drug smugglers to operate in that area. There are very big networks of smugglers between Sinai and the Naqab Desert, Sahara and Naqab, the Negev Desert. And some of them operate.
And you know, so I'm going to leave it there for you guys. This is an individual that you can follow his channel and you can see this video in its entirety and other videos that he's posted. But I just wanted to bring this to you guys' attention so you can get some context about what's going on in that region from an individual who's from said region. You understand? Someone who understands the history, someone who understands exactly what's going on, someone who has family members and friends who come from said region. You understand? It's better to receive information from people as such rather than to turn on your TV and just consume anything that you hear. As I've done in previous videos, follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. This is Street Icon, the YouTube platform, the YouTube page. Street Icon Conspiracy Theory Series. New content uploaded every day, daily. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. This was a reaction video of sorts, sort of like a breakdown to the information that was received in this video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. And always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.